and gentlemen, let's go. Gaming, tech, culture.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
You're listening to the Cool Black Nerd Podcast, presented by Say What Radio.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 18 of the Cool Black Nerd Podcast. This is Argon. We are in day 81 of the coronavirus era because I think the quarantine is over. Everybody's out there at pool parties in the Ozarks, going on vacation in the Hamptons, going to clubs and the beaches, and all of you have corona.
Yep.
And that's how I feel.
Yep.
I'm joined by our co-host, Justice and D. How are you guys doing?
I'm corona free.
Are you?
I think I am. Never know until you test it, right?
Well, yeah, I guess not, man. There is a whole lot of stuff going on in the world today. Mm-hmm. And I do want to kind of take a little bit of time at the beginning of the episode and kind of address that. And I want to make it clear, as we're talking about this, it's not about politics, whether you liberal, conservative, red, blue, purple, whatever. This is about just people and humanity. And, in the last week, man, we have a lot that's going on. So you start out with this backdrop of coronavirus, right? Everybody's been at home or, something's going on. People are starting to get restless. People are getting angry, just with the fact that on some level, you could say society has been shut down, right? I think everybody would agree with that.
Yep.
Right. So then with that backdrop, everybody's already kind of on edge. You've seen the protests, in places like Michigan, some in Texas, Florida, wherever, about, some of the restrictions like wearing masks or people getting upset that they have to wear a mask inside of a grocery store. And then I think, the next kind of big news we have this week, if you even want to call it big news, you see the confrontation between Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper in the park, the bird watcher and the woman with the dog, about the dog being on the leash. And then we see her the only way I can say it is weaponize herself and just say blatantly, like, I'm going to call the police and tell them that an African-American man is threatening my life. We can go into how just that statement alone was very telling. And then we have
inflammatory.
The video of George Floyd being killed by the police. And you have in that video the police officer, sitting on his neck, just looking like smugly into the camera. I think that's what makes this one different. And I do want to dive in on that too, because the reaction that we've seen in this particular case has been far worse or way more intense than it has been to any of the other ones that we've seen.
Well, I would say it was similar to, Eric Gardner and a few in the past, like in the beginning, but it did. I think you're right with Corona. It made things a lot more. It just exacerbated it. I guess people were already kind of pissed off. And then Amy Cooper plus this and other shit and people feeling like they don't have control over their lives. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it exacerbated it.
Right. So I think it's important to realize that, as you see things happening in the world, I think that there's like a domino effect. Like one thing if you imagine somebody setting up a bunch of dominoes and pushing one over, eventually there's like this big splash, mm-hmm. right? And I think that's where we are right now. And I think a lot of these things have just compounded. So you could say, Corona, then you have Breonna Taylor, then you have Christian Cooper, then you have George Floyd.
And Ahmaud
Arbery, right. So, and these things just keep continuing. And I think that the reaction that you're seeing right now is because people have been angry for so long. And now it's like, what other option is there for voices to be heard, for our stories to be told, for our experiences to be seen and felt by other people? And the reason that I said, we could kind of talk about this and now about the particular videos with Christian Cooper and with George Floyd, I think the part that's normally kept quiet, you can't avoid it with these videos. And what I mean by that is with Amy Cooper saying, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to tell them that an African-American man is threatening my life. And then later in the video, when you can kind of tell the 911 caller operator is kind of like, what? Okay, you're in Central Park. Somebody in a bike helmet is yelling at you. What's going on? And then her voice totally changes to like this panicked, crazy sounding.
That's the thing. Watching the video, you can see her work herself up into a frenzy even before she calls. And that's the scary thing. You could see that she knew what she was necessarily doing to be able to put herself in that sort of state. And then once she actually got on the call, it hit that pitch right perfectly.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So she, to me, like, she knows the privilege that she has. She knows the threat that the police are to African Americans. And she used that. Like, she used that because this man asked you to put your dog on a leash. So you took it upon yourself, like I said, to weaponize yourself literally against this man and threaten his life because he asked you to put your dog on a leash.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this too. Part of what happened to her is the shelter came and took that dog away.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that's telling, like, for that to happen so quickly, but for when we see these videos of Black people, there's always like, oh, you have to wait. We have to wait until we find out the full story. We have to find out what's going on. We have to know the whole story before we can pass judgment. I think, what's his name? Trevor Noah on The Daily Show was like, maybe we need to have the dog rescue people be in charge of the police.
I was going to say, if it was kneeling on a dog, action would have been taken very quickly. PETA people, or like just dog lovers, animal lovers in general, just move a lot quicker. They don't like to wait.
Because they generally haven't had to.
Yeah, and there's no real, like, precedence, I guess. They're not really governed by anything.
Yep.
They're just freelance people. Hell, I might have even been out there for the dog. Man, I have a special place for dogs. I don't know what it is.
No, just honestly watching her, the dog was just in such turmoil. It's just like, Jesus. Yeah. And then to immediately on the backs of that, see the exact same thing happen to a human. It's just like, seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, on the heels of that, you have George Floyd. And I think, again, like the quiet part being said out loud in the video, as the police officer is kneeling on his neck, like he's just staring directly into the camera, like, and you're not going to do anything about it. As people are screaming at this man, like the guy, he's stopped moving. His eyes are closed. He doesn't look like he's breathing anymore. And the cop is just looking like, yep. And what? Got his hand in his pocket, just relaxed on the back of this man's neck with, as if there's no consequences for him doing this at all.
And he knows there won't be.
And he knows there won't be. And we come to find out, he's been involved in several police misconduct investigations that have resulted in nothing. Like, he's obviously still a police officer.
Or was
a police officer. And then, you have no action being taken. I think that we can all agree that paid administrative leave is not action being taken in these situations. So you don't have any action being taken until the video comes out, until people start protesting. Then you fire the guy, but he's still not charged. You fired the 4 police officers that are involved, but nobody's been charged, even though we clearly have this video evidence. Then the protests got louder and even got a little bit violent. Then he got charged. And we still don't have charges for the 4 other officers
who were just standing there.
Who just allowed it to happen. So I think when you take all of that together, that's why you see this reaction that you have all over the country.
Well, I think honestly, it was that video. You're right. Then the other videos that came out, and it's just like, okay, now your story isn't adding up about the resisting arrest stuff. Then other angles also showed up, and still, it's just like, okay.
Oh yeah, because at first it just seems it looks like there's one officer on his neck and another officer standing to the side.
Yeah.
And then you see a video from behind, and you realize that there's 3 officers also on various parts of his body.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's like it kept getting worse and worse and worse. And that's what I mean by this build up. Like, there's been this build up to this moment that we have now, where you have, from what I see, like peaceful protests during the day, right? And then at night,
something just happens.
It takes a turn for the way. Yeah, takes a turn. And I'm not saying that, rioting is right by any means. That is Not what I'm saying at all, but I'm just trying to
wrap your head around it.
put out to wrap my head around what's going on and what I think is happening in our country right now and why we have this intense reaction right now.
Another thing that came out, and this is, I don't know if this has been substantiated, but it apparently seems that the officer who was charged and was actually on his neck the entire time didn't know him. They worked together.
Well, they work together. They're not sure if they knew each other at all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because one was outside security and one was like inside something. So they may not have ever met.
But that's even no compassion is what I mean at all. Even if it's just like, damn, he may look like such and such.
No compassion from the cop?
Yeah.
Well, I think the cop will just say that he didn't realize that he was applying that much pressure on him.
For 9 minutes?
I'm just saying that's what he's going to say. That would be his excuse.
It's a neck.
He's going to say, I've done this several times to other people and they were just fine.
And I doubt it was ever for 9 minutes or someone's neck.
I'm just telling you what the man will say. Nobody will believe it. That will be his defense.
Yeah.
Well, like all I can say is I hope that whatever comes out of this, I hope that we do start to finally see some change in society. A conviction for this police officer is not going to be enough this time. I don't believe. And I think, we'll just have to wait and see, unfortunately, with that word again, wait and see. But we will have to wait and see what is the outcome. But I think, given what we're seeing now, I think it's clear that something has to happen.
Because I remember, with the Rodney King thing, not that this is anything even remotely the same, but I remember, this was after the officers were not charged and nothing really happened. And that's when people lost their minds and, rioted in the streets. This time they were just like, fuck it. And not only was it in Minneapolis, but it is spread across like everywhere. And in the beginning, everyone was just kind of like, oh yeah, well, I get it. Now, since it's spreading, people are like, well, hold the fuck up now. I get you upset, but y'all need to, take some time and think about it. But at that point, you really can't. I think I spoke on this on Say What Radio. It's just like you take those rational people and you put them in these irrational situations, and it's more of a powder keg to me in my mind, because they do have substantiated rational thoughts that they can put into play in a better way than someone who is just completely out of their mind and just kind of just going off of the cuff. When you take the time to actually plan some shit out, you're definitely more effective. And I think they're going to, I don't know if it'll change anything, but I definitely know that we can't go back.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Again, I just kind of wanted to touch on it and talk about why I think we see the intensity that we see.
Yeah.
And reiterate that, hey, this is not about politics. This is about people. Like literally, this is just about people and how people are treated in America. And now we see, like, again, these two incidents to me, like the quiet part is being shouted. Like you can see it. But in other news.
Oh, I wanted to say something.
Oh, go ahead.
While we, again, I don't know about everybody else, but I know we understand all the protests and everything like that. The looting and the shooting and the, tearing up shit, please, that's not helping. I get everybody's pissed off and everything like that. I really do. But the peaceful protests, I understand. Burning your own neighborhoods down, I can't really get with that. I will say that.
Yep, agreed. Looting, the violence is definitely unnecessary. But yep, we will have to see what comes.
Yeah.
Speaking of seeing what is coming, HBO Max is finally here.
Lord.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I thought HBO Max was gonna be kind of useless. I had HBO. I've seen the things that are on HBO. I thought that that's what it was gonna be. I was wrong.
Yeah.
I have to say that I was wrong. I have enjoyed HBO Max. I'm glad that it just came to me as part of my HBO subscription. I think that's very helpful. I didn't have to pay anything extra.
Yeah.
Funny thing for me is that they literally just reskinned HBO Now and added more stuff. Because if you don't have it on your system, like say you don't have HBO Max on your system,
Mhm.
when you go to your store, whatever you're on, like a Fire Stick or whatever, when you install it, you go to HBO Max, install it. It installs as HBO Now, and then you have to upgrade HBO Now to HBO Max by
That's
doing
funny.
another update on the thing. And I'm like, really?
That's funny.
That was not my experience, man. I think that I'm tempted to say that's just Fire Stick. I could be wrong.
Nah, it's on my phone and on my Shield as well.
Yeah, on my TV and on my phone, man, the app just updated and HBO Now was gone and it was HBO Max.
Yeah, that's what it does.
Well,
that's
that's
what I mean.
saying.
Like if you don't have
that's-
any
okay.
HBO on your thing at all, it updates when you go to HBO Max. It won't install HBO Max first. It'll say HBO Max, but it'll upgrade to HBO Now if you have nothing on your system. And then you have to go back into the store again to HBO Max.
Oh, you say
and
you got to do like 2 updates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then it says update and it goes to HBO.
I understand what you mean now. Okay. So you can't just go to the store and get HBO Max.
Nope.
It's going to be
gotta have
HBO,
HBO
now
Now
first,
first.
and then it goes to HBO Max.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know why it does that, but
Well, maybe they have to load the HBO content first, and then because they decided to surprise everybody with DC, the Studio Ghibli, Crunchyroll, all kind of Looney Tunes, all sorts of things in there now. Maybe they couldn't fit it all in one update. I don't know, man. But I'm very impressed with HBO Max. I'm not saying it's going to, change the game or anything. Like I'm not saying that, you need to go cancel Netflix because of HBO. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying HBO Max, man, might be good value.
I had the pleasure, do that in quotations, of speaking opinion group on HBO Max of them releasing. And I remember talking to the lady and she was like, well, would you, she's just asking me all these questions of, having the service or what do I think about it necessarily. And I was just like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't understand what the hell it's supposed to be. Is it HBO? No. Is it HBO Go? No. Is it HBO Now? No. Is it Netflix? Not necessarily. Is it DC? The DC Universe app? No, I wouldn't say that. It's, we expound a little bit more. It's everything under that. Under what? She really couldn't explain it to me to where I could understand it. And I was just like, no, I'm sorry. I can't get with this, ma'am.
Essentially, it's pretty much almost everything that's owned by Warner Brothers. Almost everything.
AT&T.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is everything that's owned by AT&T, which includes Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Well, I say Warner Brothers because AT&T owns a lot of stuff that's not movie related. So people would be like, what? AT&T?
Yeah. I think, that's another thing we can talk about another day when people start to realize how much AT&T and Disney actually owns.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think for me, man, just the amount of content was actually very surprising. Even more so than Disney Plus at the beginning. Like I think it's just because I kind of knew what to expect with Disney Plus, and I had seen a lot of promotion around what was going to be there versus HBO Max was just kind of like, HBO Max is coming. It's a thing that, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air be there for the first time streaming, which is cool. I was excited about that, but I didn't realize that it was going to have the anime Looney Tunes, new episodes of Looney Tunes. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and you guys know when I sent you the screenshot, the one that got me was a Studio Ghibli, and I might not even be pronouncing that right, but that's some of my favorite animation period ever. So I was sold on it. I'm good to go. HBO Max, you good in my book.
Ghibli.
The streaming wars are over for Jules.
No, I didn't say no. They're not over. I don't think they're over. You still.
It should be an addition to your library.
Yeah, I would put it there. I think you still have some competitors waiting to enter the market, like Peacock, which is still a stupid name.
Who is?
Peacock.
Oh, Peacock. I thought you said TikTok. I was like, TikTok?
Nah, Peacock.
I wouldn't be surprised with TikTok.
Peacock. Stupid name. We did also see the launch of Quibi. I think that's how you say it. Quibi? I don't think.
Quibi?
Yeah, a lot of people may not be too tuned into that. Fortunately, I am able to have that service. It's okay. I wouldn't pay for it. I think it's a cool idea where you have just episodes of shows that are like between 5 and 10 minutes long. Yeah, they just need. I'm gonna say they need better original content.
Yep.
What they came out with was a lot of rehash stuff, like Punked with Chance the Rapper instead of Ashton Kutcher, and it's Punked. You know what I mean? But we've been there, done that.
I
Yeah.
mean, Kevin Hart has been doing that on his LOL network for like the last 3 years.
Yeah, like it may even benefit them to partner with him, but what do I know? Yeah, so I think with Peacock coming, Quibi, I don't know what they're going to end up doing, and you still have services like Disney Plus. To me, that still hasn't ramped up fully, and
What
I think
about
they've
Apple?
kind of been delayed with coronavirus. I am not talking about Apple for a reason. I think that they might need to get out of the streaming wars. They don't. I personally don't think they've had much success. The shows that I've seen were not good. Like, what was that? C with Jason. I'm just gonna say Momo because I don't
Momo.
I'm sorry. I'm apologizing because I know I said it wrong and I don't
Momoa.
really know how to say it right. Momoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason Momoa. That show was bad. There's another show. I think it had Reese Witherspoon in it. Was also bad.
Yeah.
The one good thing that I saw is actually something that they decided not to release because there was some controversy. That movie with Sam Jackson, Mackie is his last name.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie, yeah. That was actually a pretty entertaining movie. Unfortunately, you can't see it on Apple TV, even though it's supposed to be Apple TV exclusive.
Yeah.
I would suggest everybody contact their local King of Pirates to determine, the best method to see that movie, because I don't think there's any other way for you to see it at this point. I mean, do you guys know of it being anywhere else?
Why didn't they release it?
It's on video on demand. I don't remember all the companies that like have it, but it is on some video on demands.
Okay, well, like I said, contact your local King Pirating, and they will probably have an answer for you. Well, the reason that they did not release the movie, one of the movie, is about two gentlemen, two African American guys who ultimately ended up buying a bank in California, and
that was supposed to be an Apple TV exclusive because that was actually supposed to be released in theaters.
Actually, if you look at when the movie comes on, it actually has the Apple symbol and everything.
Yeah,
like the
Apple TV exclusive.
Apple TV, yeah.
One of the producers on that show, I don't know if it was his son or maybe his great grandson, was a producer on the movie. One of the gentlemen that the movie was about, and his sisters came out with allegations of sexual abuse. So that's why the movie was not released on Apple TV. They want to avoid that potential backlash.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, that's why I was kind of staying away from Apple, just because I don't think that they've done very well so far. Maybe they can pick it up, but I doubt it. I think for that to continue to be even a viable thing, they're going to have to continue including it with the purchase of iPhones. Like, I'm not sure that. I'm just being honest. I don't think you're really going to have too many people that would pay for that particular streaming service.
They're definitely losing out on that battle.
Yep. And kind of get back to what I was saying. I think that the streaming wars are not over because you still have Disney Plus that has a lot more things to come. Like, a lot of their Marvel stuff is not available yet. And coronavirus is pushing back production on a lot of the things that they wanted to put on that service. But I think they're in a good place just because it's Disney. Like, they're not really in a place where they're lacking for content. Like, they can always just go get something out the vault and throw it on there and be like, oh, we got a brand new 4K version of Fantasia or whatever. I don't know. And people are going to be interested in that. Peacock, like I said, Peacock might be something that surprises me like HBO Max did, because I have no idea what goes on Peacock. I'm really not even familiar with what shows are tied to them. That's what, NBC, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea what may be coming with that. Hopefully they can do something and change the name, because that's still a really stupid name.
Like, Peacock is with the cable providers though, right? It's not by itself, is it?
I think it's by itself as well.
Yeah, I think it's just simple. Well, I guess it would be NBC and Universal.
Yeah, because NBC is owned by Comcast. I think that's something that's only on like with cable stuff. I think you got to have a subscription, some kind of subscription to like. It's got something to do with Comcast. I know for sure because they own NBC.
Okay.
But I just don't know that much enough about it either. I would be surprised that Comcast would let NBC do something on their own
Right.
that doesn't involve them.
Right. Yep. I agree with that. So yeah, I think there's more to come on that as well. Right now, I'm sticking with Netflix. If you got it, you already know that's good. Keep that. Disney Plus. I'm satisfied. Yeah. Apple TV. Hey,
And
man.
I know Justice it's not fond of Hulu, but Hulu has come a long way. They have a lot of content on there that you would know. Their interface really sucks. But they have a lot more stuff than you think they would have. Like, I actually enjoy Hulu a lot. I just wish their interface was different. It's hard to look for shit, which is why you don't know they have it.
I would put Amazon Prime in that same boat.
Yep.
Yeah, Amazon is the same way, yeah.
Amazon Prime, they got some shit like there's some good shows in there that I've been watching, like Bosch and Grimm. They got some good and random Amazon original movies, but
Grimm may not be on there very long.
That's NBC, isn't it?
That's NBC.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Now I got to say it this way then. I like Grimm. It ain't gonna be enough for me to pay for NBC, the Peacock or whatever.
But yeah, I'll give you that. Some of the stuff that's on there, they have a new show that's an actual Amazon show upload. It was cute.
Mm-hmm.
Bosch is very good. The Man in the High Castle, I really didn't care for that.
I liked it.
The Boys, guys. The Boys. They have The Boys.
The Boys, yeah.
The Boys is very good. So there's, that's my point. There's a lot of good stuff on Amazon Prime, but the interface is just so bad that you're hard pressed to find it.
And it's hard to tell what you can watch for free and what you have to pay for.
And I was just about to say that the fact that they now have a filter that says free to me.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to have that. It's like, why don't you just separate that shit out? Go somewhere else with that.
Yeah.
Don't call this Prime Video, call this Prime Rentals or something. Like, I don't know. But don't put the two together and then expect people to know how to, get through this. Because you're like, oh, shoot, the new Deadpool. Let me go click on that. That'll be $29.99. Please get the fuck out of my face.
Well, and like for people like us, that's bad. But I think they do that on purpose for people who aren't aware and just click stuff and they just buy it and don't realize they bought it. And they make a lot of money off of that. Because people who use my account have done that. They're like, oh, yeah, we watched what's the name the other day. I was like, oh, yeah, wait a minute, that's $10. No, you can't buy that. I'll see it when the bill comes out. But yeah, you probably paid $10 for that. God dang it. So that may be a part of their plan to mix that in like that. To get
mix
that.
People.
Yeah.
We're going to leave the interface bad so that we can get some extra revenue on the side.
Yeah, exactly. Because it doesn't really ask you much. You really just have to click it like one time and it'll purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to say this too. As part of the streaming wars, I think that movie theaters are in a tough position.
They're in trouble.
I don't know if you guys, I know you guys saw it because I'm pretty sure we discussed this before, but some of the movies that got delayed or had their releases moved online, like Onward, you had the studio execs coming out and saying that the movies actually did surprisingly well with video on demand.
Yep.
Yeah, it got into a tiffy with the
CEO
of the owners union type thing for movie theaters. Yeah, it got into it.
And I don't even see why that would have been a tip. Like, you had specifically the CEO of AMC come out and say, like, well, if you're going to put it on video on demand, we won't show the movies at all.
Mm-hmm. No movies from that particular studio.
But how does that benefit the theater? Like, how does that stay?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like,
well, it puts them in the position of, now a lot of the times when you want to be considered for any type of awards or something, it has to be put out in a movie, which is why Netflix does those weeks where they just put out their movies that have actually already been on their streaming service. But Netflix is also trying to get into the point of creating their own movie theaters for this type of stuff so that online streamers will be able to not have to go through kind of like a hostage situation, which Netflix has said when dealing with these movie theaters, because they don't make money unless it's been out for at least a month in their theaters. So that's why if they're pulled early or if it's something that's not really doing anything in the beginning. They hate having those movies because it costs them money to have it there, because they have to license and type fees for showing the movie. Plus, they have to abide by some rules depending upon the studio. Disney's a real stickler for, some sort of crazy rules when it comes to that. And the way that they're making it money, of course, is, the concessions that cost you got to finance to actually get done or have. So that's why he's thinking that he's in the position to be able to say that, because he still holds, if you want to have, awards contention, you'll be able to show it in our theater. Plus, not everybody's going to pirate, which is not really the case. Honestly, at this point in time, most people would rather just be at home.
I mean, does it have to go to theater? Because a lot of those independent, those film festivals, a lot of those still get nominated for stuff.
Because they're shown in theaters. It's the limited releases. They're still shown in theaters.
Well, it doesn't have to be a big theater, so that's
No.
my point.
But that's the thing. Unfortunately, most theaters go through that. Unless you're showing it in Tougaloo, Oklahoma or something like that is owned by just one guy and it's not a franchise. Most of them are AMC, Regal.
I get that, but I'm saying, like, if you, as a movie, like if I'm a film studio, if I only have to do like a limited release, I can release it in some random movie theater. What sense would it make for AMC to say, well, we're not going to show your movie? I don't need you in order to be in movie contention if I only got to release it in like some small movie theater.
Right. And I get that. I understand what both of you are saying. And Jessica, I understand how he feels, the CEO that you're talking about, with all those contingencies for awards and things like that. Guess who doesn't care about awards? Universal Studios putting out Jurassic Park. They don't give a damn if Jurassic Park win awards.
That's true.
Avengers Part 17. They don't give a damn if they win an Oscar for that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're telling me, AMC CEO, that you just not gonna show this movie? Okay.
Well, at that point in time, it's the biggest chain that's in there, and a lot of the movie theaters. And I'm not sure if the AMC is actually a part of the chains that are in like Asia and Saudi Arabia, which are coming up to be very big markets within the movie industry. Because right now, if you can't get your movie shown in China, a lot of times it doesn't make money. That's what they are seeing. It's just the way it is. So, is it worth it?
I think that if video on demand is a viable option, which we've seen that it is at this point, and you're refusing to show my movie just because I said video on demand was surprisingly profitable.
Well, that's not exactly what he said. That's not specifically what he said. He did say it was surprisingly profitable and said in the future we're looking to doing dual releases, possibly, which would mean it'd be releases in the movies as well as video on demand, which would basically, counteract it even being in the movie theaters, because they're, again, like I said before, they're going to lose money. So that's why he said that.
Yeah, the dual thing just means that we're slowly phasing you out, movie theater.
Basically,
that's what dual
so he took
means.
that as an act of aggression.
Okay, well, I'm going to put it like this then. If I'm Universal Studios, I'm like, okay, well, now instead of doing it slowly, since you want to do this, let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Let's do it now. Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Peacock, you will have exclusive rights to Jurassic Park universe. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I think it was a mistake. I think he needs to chill out. You need to find a way to work with the studios, because even if they do simultaneous releases, somebody like me, like, I want to, if it's a movie I want to see, depending on what movie it is, I will admit that. But I want to go sit in the theater. I want my seat to be vibrating. I want my eyes to bleed from the screen. I want my ears bleeding from the sound. I want the experience. I want to see it in IMAX. I want to see it in 3D. I'm not going to get that experience in my living room.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. Sure, yeah, it's definitely going to take some people out of the theater, but I think that it won't be like the theater is just completely destroyed because everything is now on demand as well.
Yeah, it's gonna take quite a bit out of there, and they make their money off of concessions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which to me is why you've seen so many of them kind of taking on that Alamo Drafthouse Studio Movie Grill, kind of deal, where they're starting to become more of a restaurant.
Yeah, they have to.
Instead of just having popcorn and hot dogs.
Yeah, I mean, you have to compete, one, and two, you need to make the experience where somebody's actually going to come out and do it. It's like, okay, well, that was cool. I didn't have to wait in line for 75 minutes just to get cold popcorn and old candy.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, you movie going Ricky, if that's what's happening to you. Let me tell you what you do. You go early on a Sunday morning or on a Tuesday or Thursday. Hot popcorn, short lines, good to go.
And that's another thing. People don't want to have to do all that. It's just like, okay, I have time now, or I want to plan this out.
People's jobs don't allow them to do that.
Yeah,
No,
I want to plan this out for a date
Hey.
or whatever.
Hey.
I still want it to be a nice experience.
Hey, date night. Hey, we going on Tuesday.
You still have places like, the iPix and even studio movie, like you said, Studio Movie Grill is really up in their game because they've actually added in little sections, kind of like what they have in iPic. So like that little area where it was just kind of like just open, it would have like some seats or whatnot, but it's a large walkway that you could go through. They've put in those little cubbyhole type things now.
And let me tell you something about iPic right now. iPic is going to struggle. And you know why? Coronavirus. I'm not trying to be in your cubby hole where 900 other people been in here doing whatever it is that they do in these cubby holes. And I know y'all not in here steam cleaning between showings.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
So keep your blankets and your pillows. I don't need all. I don't want all that. Give me my individual seat and get out of my way.
Well, iPic was always like a niche, so they don't expect much traffic anyway. That's why their prices are so high. Like it's always been, they don't like pack like their theaters.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited to see if I know Justice, you went to a drive-in. I'm kind of interested to see, how did that go? How was that?
It was actually really fun. I will say that. I was thinking that it would be an issue with the audio or with concessions or just in general people, but it was really chill. It was a great way to be able to, get out of the house and experience a movie right now. The audio was amazing. You could either do it through your phone or through your radio. My son was just blown away by this. He's like, this is crazy.
I feel like he was like, people can send sounds over radio waves?
Right?
This isn't Bluetooth?
Yeah, it was kind of like that, but I had to explain to him, like, back in the day, they didn't even have this. Like, they had those speakers that you would just put on the window and do this shit. Or you just had that shit up really fucking loud and you'd be sitting there going, can I hear it?
I wanted to know, was there like a delay that you could notice from the sound?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
It was perfect. It was perfect. I mean, you had people, what I really found to be really cool is that you had people who were in their trucks, in their beds with like, blankets in their pillows watching it, or people who had just, let up their hatchback and they were laying in the back of their cars, or people who just actually took out, some seats that they'd actually gotten, those chairs or whatever, brought out and just sitting, around their car.
Took out this.
Watching it. Well, chairs, like
some lawn chairs.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're sitting out there having a little picnic. So with their mask on.
That's what's up. So yeah,
it was really cool.
I'm glad to see, adaptations like that. I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully stuff like that kind of becomes a little bit more popular.
It has been.
It's funny. I don't mean to laugh, but I'm thinking like if somebody was like this is like Demolition Man, like somebody that was like frozen in the 40s and 50s, and they come back now and they're like adaptation drive-in theater.
Oh yeah,
this is new.
Yeah, that's it. Like Idiocracy.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
had this when I was young.
They used to have, I forgot where it was, but they used to have one that was on the river. They would show Jaws like that each time, so you're just like floating on the river in this little area. Of course, it's like roped off or whatever, watching Jaws in a
I
inner tube.
remember that. And I wouldn't have done that.
I'm good.
I know it's a cool, but I'm not doing that.
I'm good. Yeah. I appreciate the thought. Let me stand right here on this shoreline, and I'll be fine watching the movie.
Yeah. If you want me to enjoy the movie, don't do that to me.
As a matter of fact, I'll bring a grill. I'll grill up some hot dogs and hamburgers for everybody. Y'all can get out there in the river and do your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that because seeing it, I'm like, that's a cool concept, very cool. I can't do it.
I got anxiety just listening to it.
Yeah, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I appreciate you. It's a great idea. I hope your
but
business
it's done
does well.
so good.
Mhm.
It's done so good that they actually opened up a second one out in spring, oddly enough, in Splashtown. So
Oh, I'm sure it will do good. It just ain't for me.
no. What I mean is the drive-in. This is still a drive-in. This is
Oh, the drive-in. Oh, yeah.
I haven't been to it yet, but there's one, I guess it's probably about 45 minutes away from me. I think I might go check it out. I pass it, every once in a while when I go visit some family that lives nearby. And this one, it was surprising because it was actually showing like new movies. So it wasn't, I'm probably going to have to check that out. I'm going to check it out.
Actually, the one in spring is showing Sonic. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Sonic, underrated movie. I don't know if we put that on the list, but
yeah, we did.
we haven't done that list, have we?
We did do that list. Yeah, we did that since the beginning of the year.
Not since. Yeah. Not since
then. Okay.
ain't
Yeah.
been
Yeah,
updated.
well, I'm putting Sonic on the list whenever we actually do the rest of the list. Sonic is going on the list, ladies and gentlemen. That is a teaser for a future episode of the Cool Black Nerd podcast. I think this one is in the books.
Pretty much.
All right, then. You're right. Let's go ahead and call this one an episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the Cool Black Nerd podcast. Again, check us out on social media. Always go check out saywhatradio.com. There are several podcasts in our network that I think everybody would enjoy and love and just have a great time listening to.
Always. We out.